It's just so crazy that in a 3-row SUV, you're gonna see strips of road like this, and you're gonna wanna hit it. Welcome back, I'm Tedward, welcome to San Francisco, and welcome to the all-new Mazda CX-90 Turbo S. There's 3 variants of this beautiful car. This is the top trim, and the reason this is the coolest is because it has the all-new 3.3-liter inline 6 turbo with a 48-volt mild hybrid system. That's right, you're getting a straight 6 in your flagship large platform Mazda, and it's rear-wheel biased. This new top trim Turbo S packs 340 horsepower, 369 pound-feet of torque, and it is a large 3-row SUV that has lots of different configurations, 11 in fact. And from the side, you can tell this has a really menacing but large and fast-looking stance. Giant doors. This is a really long and tall style kind of vehicle, but all the touch points are great. Like these door handles are kind of dainty. They work properly for a human hand. Let me move some of my stuff because I'm living in this right now for the day, and I've got these nice, beautiful captain's chairs. I'm going to try not to ruin this awesome carpet. You can configure these in a few different ways. You can have a 2 + 2 + 2, a 2 + 3 + 2, and a 2 + 2 + 2 + 3. It's really confusing, and honestly, I'd recommend just going on their configurator to kind of figure out what works for you. But I really love this configuration because I've got a really nice center console back here. I've got heated and cooled seats in the rear, USB-C charge ports for the phones back here, a large panoramic moonroof, and man, this trim is just gorgeous. We've got all this nice sort of Alcantara and wood. All the touch points are really premium feeling. I'm leaving it running right now because I'm afraid that my Apple Maps, my Google Maps is going to get screwed up if I change it. Now let's take a look in the back because, when you have a 3-row SUV, this is the trick, is it needs to be functional. You need to be able to sit back here. And yeah, this is all right. It's certainly a bench, It's not the most incredible space ever, but I do have HVAC controls back here, so I'm going to be getting air. I don't feel claustrophobic because I've got this lovely glass and charge ports back here. In addition to that, I have AC power and a cigarette lighter. And this rear door is really large and gives you a sunshade. The styling of the CX-90 is just gorgeous. I think they did a really nice job bringing this into the modern era. It doesn't just look like they tried to SUV-ify a Miata. It has a style all its own. We open this large rear hatch. We've got plenty of space back here if we put this 3rd row down. And then you're good to go. I've got my backpack, my umbrella. What else do I need today? It's a rainy day in San Francisco, but this is reasonable space. The only problem is that when you've got it so well upholstered, you're going to want to protect all of those surfaces because I certainly wouldn't want to bust up any of this leather with a 2x4. Under here, we've got a little tool kit so you can change a tire, but that's about it. If you want to just shove a few things back there, you're good to go. Super smooth movements on this car. Gluing us to the road is a 275 section tire on 21-inch wheels all around, front and rear, so rotations should be available. That's always helpful. And despite being such a large wheel, you still got a 45 profile sidewall, so that's going to absorb a lot of ugly junk. So let's take a look under the hood. There she is. Not much to see here because we have a ton of plastic cladding, like a ton of plastic cladding, but you can remove this. Actually, let's take a look. If we say unlock, unlock, and then that's hinged, there it is. And that's going to help reduce some of that injection noise with this padding under here because injector noise isn't exactly the most pleasant thing. But there's our turbo hidden over there and a beautiful inline 6 tucked nice and low and far back. So despite being an SUV, the CX-90 with a longitudinally mounted inline 6 rear-wheel drive layout might just be the car guy's dream family SUV. So let's jump in and see how it drives. To start the CX-90, pretty simple stuff. We've got our key fob with our buttons on the side here, and then foot on brake, start-stop button. up here, we've got room for sunglasses. This is where, like, I think they're smart because it feels like this is kind of cheap plastic, but it's like, you know, not a touch point you're going to interact with all that much, and you don't see it. So all these beautiful materials here, and you can option this out a few different ways. Feel really good. It's right in your face. I love this tan. I love the two-tone on the steering wheel. That's like Bentley. This is a very Bentley style steering wheel, if I'm honest, and I don't think that was any accident on the designer's part. It adjusts mechanically, and it telescopes. In fact, the car can even set you up in a driving position by telling it your height. To put it in drive, we have our shifter here. Into drive, over and down. We've got 360 cameras. Let's kick this off with a little bit of city driving. We'll cross the Golden Gate Bridge, and then we'll go ahead and get into some fun twisty roads with this 3.3 liter turbo S variant of the CX-90. This transmission, sometimes, you know, it takes a second to kind of engage again when you've come to a stop or slowed back down. It gets just a tiny bit confused. The mild hybrid system is allowing me to coast with no engine running. So look at this, I'm just cruising along a little bit. That inline six isn't doing anything, and then it starts right back up because that starter motor is integrated, so that's how it's getting the job done quickly. A couple weeks ago, I was out here with the GMC Hummer EV SUV, and being in this lane was a scary proposition because this divider feels awfully close. This is definitely wide, but not nearly as wide or as hard to place as that. This is a very comfortable place to be. Check this out. I love the Golden Gate Bridge. It is just so iconic and fun to look at. It's always fun to cross. I need to come running here today if the rain subsides. Really puts it down. Loving this inline six, buttery smooth. I'm loving the way this is holding my gear. I haven't had this much fun in like a 3-row SUV in a very long time. It's not as hardcore as like an M variant X5 or something like that, but it's really well balanced and it's precise. When we engage the cruise control, everything changes on the dashboard. And there we can hold our speed, and let's turn on the lane keep assist as well. There it is. We're all green. See how she handles. We've got the Bolt up here too, and that's got Super Cruise if he's optioned it properly. This is not quite Super Cruise, so I wouldn't consider this hands-free driving, but it is nice to have the hands-free, or not hands-free, the lane assist, the lane keep assist, because, you know, sometimes you just want to reach back, grab your water. I mean, you've got cup holders here too, but you know how it is. Sometimes it's just nice to have some system looking out for you a little bit, especially on a long trip, or if you've got kids who are just driving you nuts. You don't want to accidentally slip into someone else's lane just because you got a little distracted. So now we're out on some more squiggly back roads, which should be a little more fun and kind of show off some of the technological prowess of this new large platform. It has the kinematic posture control, which basically just helps the car stay flat in a corner by braking the inside rear wheel. It's a big car, but you can still hustle it. Lift off oversteer possible. We got a little bit of understeer backed off and the tail comes right around. great mid-range torque from this thing. And you just feel safe because even if you start to lose that front grip a little bit, you can bring it right back off throttle. Wow, this is actually genuinely entertaining. I am having a good time. One thing I would change about this is I would make the angle on the phone holder a little deeper because it keeps flopping out if I actually start flogging it. The steering feels really direct. It might be a touch vague. It's not giving me every detail of the granularity and texture of the road, but it's certainly not confusing. I know when I'm starting to lose the front of the car a little bit in a corner, and there's just no play in it. Transmission doing a great job keeping me in the right gear. Even on some wet roads, we're really able to explore this thing with confidence. Sorry about all the stuff moving around in the car, but that should just go to show how capable it actually is. The brakes are nice. The brakes actually really progressive, really simple, and I always know what I'm going to get when I go for the pedal, so I get in there. And that's great. It's balanced. It's going in a straight line, even on these sort of varied, ugly conditions. And the squat and dive is really controlled. It's existent. They didn't just make this thing completely neutral so it doesn't move. You want a little bit of body roll so you can, play with weight transfer, but it's not floppy. It's really composed. It's just so crazy that in a 3-row SUV, you're gonna see strips of road like this, and you're gonna wanna hit it. The power isn't gonna melt your face off, but it's more than enough. It's just more than enough. And the chassis encourages some momentum driving, so you should be carrying some speed with you while you're doing it. We don't know these roads too well, so I'm gonna be a little cautious just to make sure we don't run across any unsavory characters. But man, look at this. People haul out here. It just drives the way a car is meant to drive. Oh, I wasn't expecting to like this so much. Not trying to sound snooty about SUVs, but obviously I would prefer a lightweight sports car or sports sedan. And yet here we are, blasting off in Mazda's latest creation. This thing can cover some ground. I just love that it's rear-wheel drive bias. That makes this so delicious to get into the power. It feels incredible. This is why I'm rooting for Mazda. Mazda makes cars for drivers. They're not a company that can go inject billions of dollars into new platforms. So when they do things like this, they need to be confident that what they're giving the public is going to hit for a while. Giving us a straight 6 is one of the most exciting things in the auto industry right now. This is actually pretty wild that we're getting a new inline 6 turbo platform from anybody. And I'm thrilled that it's coming from Mazda because this is fun. This is what I grew up with. My dad is an inline 6 purist. We had inline 6 Volvos, and he refused to go with anything but a longitudinal platform for many, many years. So when Volvo started making like 850Rs and stuff, he was like, absolutely not. We're not going front wheel or all-wheel drive in this household. We're driving 960s and S90s. So I'm kind of a straight six nerd when it comes down to like how I grew up, and this is really ticking some boxes. Now, do I wish that we were getting like a Mazda 6 with this platform? Oh, heck yeah, man. I wish, oh, fingers crossed, man. How great would it be if we could have this powertrain in a sedan? Or if someone can shoehorn this into a Miata, I don't know if it'll fit. That'd be pretty darn cool, but it sounds great. It's fun to drive. Oh, it's progressive, it's linear, it moves up the rev range like a real engine. Look at this, E28, yeah, buddy. Yeah, I'm hoping that this isn't like a swan song for these kind of things. I would love to start seeing powertrains like this come back. So pros and cons. Pros, the suspension, it's just stupendous. It's great on the highway, it's luxurious, and it can handle a corner. This thing is clever, it's smart, it's fun to drive. Steering, pretty darn good, really direct. There's no play in this wheel. Every input you make has an output. It does the job. It's just a little tiny bit vague, but not, you can say that about lots of Mazdas. So if you're used to a Miata, which, I think an ND Miata has a little bit of vagueness in the steering, that's kind of what you're getting. So you can imagine what that's like. Brakes, really lovely. Everything is just so driver-oriented, focused on letting you become part of the vehicle. Seats pretty supportive, doing the job. I think the materials help lock you in place a little bit. The only thing that I would say kind of falters a little bit in this car is the 8-speed automatic at like low speeds. I think it works really well when you're really going for it and you're hammering it, but I can see how at low speeds sometimes it has to like think a little bit before getting back into place. The gear ratios though, that's delicious. They're nice and short. The paddles aren't going to give you like DCT lightning fast shifts, but it allows you to hold your gear. And remember, like we're in I have to keep recalibrating and saying like, hey man, we are in a 3-row SUV. And yet I'm playing with it like it's a track toy, and it's taking it. How wild. Good job, Mazda. Thank you guys so much for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing. Don't forget to respect the drive. And I'll see you in the next one. I want to live with one of these for a little while longer. Mazda, please send me one of these to play with for a week, because I'm having a good time, and I want to have more good times with this thing. And by building this chassis with this layout, it also gives a lot of room up front, because you don't have a V configuration. You have all this room next to the engine bay, which means you can move those front wheels really far side to side, giving this an incredible turning radius.